What's going on, guys? Jordy with Team Firespin back with another deck profile. So in this deck profile, I'm going to be showing you guys my Performage Pendulum deck, or as I like to call it, Majemages. It has a Magispector engine in it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's get started with it. So I'll start with the main deck, and then I'll go to the extra deck. So for the main deck, for the monsters, we got 3 Magispector Raccoons. This also goes along with the other part of the engine, the 3 Magispector Fox. So it's a little 6, I guess technically it's an 8-card engine because I run 2 of the Trap Tempest, but we'll get to that in a minute. It's a little engine that gives you a high scale and a low scale in the deck. The low scale is actually pretty important because it's a 2, and it just kind of it works with everything in the deck. They're spellcasters. They're level 4. You can make this level 4 with one of my personal techs. It just gets things going, and it's a really good first turn summon because it allows you to search for Tempest, which is basically Solemn Notice. And it's all around just a really, really good engine, and I'm really liking that people are starting to use this. So that's it for the Magi part of the Majemages. For the Mage part, we play 3 Plushfire. Now, Plushfire is going to be one of the main cards in the deck. He basically facilitates all the plays. He is a part of pretty much every single OTK in the deck. To go along with the Performage part of the Pendulums, I also play 2 of the Mirror Conductor. Now, a lot of people are playing 3, some people have been cutting it to 2. I'm liking it at 2 right now, but it's definitely not needed. I could definitely see it going up to 3 is what I'm getting at. He's a really good card. He plays a really big role, being one of the main low scales. This is one of the main high scales, but you also are going to be popping him with some of the cards like Luster and other things to kind of get his effect off. And he actually works really well with Ragna Zero. And it's all around just great stuff, and it just facilitates a lot of the plays. So those are it for the Performage Pendulum part. For the other Performage monsters, we play 3 Damage Juggler. Damage Juggler just kind of searches for all of the Performage cards in the deck. He also can stop some OTKs depending on how much damage they have on board, and he's just an all-in-all really great card. Being able to remove him from play to search for any of the Performages, whether it be a high scale or a low scale, is also really important too. And 15 attack is pretty beefy. I mean, nothing crazy, but it is really good. You got to play 3. To go along with the Performage engine, we also play 1 Trick Clown and 1 Hat Tricker. Now, these 2 aren't really they're necessary, but they're not necessary at any more than 1. They do what you need them to do, and that's it, really. He's going to be obviously one of the best ones, but like I said, you really don't need multiples of these cards, and then he just offers more OTK plays and more XYZs. So that's it for the Performages. Now we're going to move on to some of the other Pendulums. So we play 2 Archery and Eccentric. This is basically the MST of the deck. I'm not main decking MSTs. So this will basically do the same thing. You can also pop your Plushfires with this card if you need to be able to do a little bit more plays and stuff. He's also good monster removal, as well as a high scale, a really high scale. He's 7 as opposed to a 5 or a 3, so he's just all around good. There is some cards such, this, like I said earlier, is a 2 scale, so you can Pendulum this card, which is good, so you can actually get his monster effect off, as well as some of the other Pendulums that I play that not a lot of people play. And so he's just really easy to bring out, and he's just spot removal, so he's just really good in the deck. Adding another high scale is also really good. Next we have the 3 Luster Pendulums. This is kind of a given. This does a lot of dumb things with Plushfire. This combo right here, these 2 cards, they start such a crazy combo and they get everything going. So you definitely got to play 3 of each of these. But what Luster basically does is he'll pop the other Pendulum scale, then you'll search for that monster that you popped from the main deck to the hand. It's good because when he dies by a card effect, he'll special a Pendulum or a Performage from the deck, so that's just really good. And then being able to search for another high scale is also really good. He's also a level 4 tuner, which is pretty helpful when you're getting into the extra deck for this guy, Ignister. So he's just all around an amazing card, plus 1850 beater. So these 2 work in tangent with each other, which is really, really strong. Now we'll move on to some of the other Pendulums in the deck. We play 3 Vector Pendulum. Now this card is just really, really dumb. He's really interesting. to be able to, his pendulum effect is negates all of your opponent's pendulum monsters effects, or pendulum zone effects, so that's just all in all really good. Plus he's a level 4. The dark attribute doesn't really matter, but he's a low scale, so that's really good, and he's 1850 as well. So he's just an all-around good card. He also combos off with a lot of these spells, so we'll get to those in a minute. Now here's one of the pendulums that not a lot of people play. Actually, I haven't seen anyone play this. My teammate Tyler, he actually gave me the idea. It's 2 Risebell the Summoner. Now what this guy does for the deck, he does a couple of things. One, he's a normal monster, so you can search him with your Painful Decision. 2, he's a low scale, being in the form of 2, so you can bring out things that you wouldn't normally be able to bring out, like your Raccoon, also your Eccentric Archfiend. There's just a bunch of different things that he allows the deck to do. He can also bring himself out, which is cool. And now his pendulum effect is the kind of the cooler part. It basically reads, once per turn, you can target one face-up monster on the field, increase its level by 1, even if this card leaves the field. So a cool thing that does for the deck is you can increase your Raccoon to level 4, and Raccoon is a spellcaster, so it allows you to make even faster trapeze plays. You can summon this, search for your guy, make him one of the scales, as well as like a high scale. Pendulum, the other guy, search the trap, and then stack these 2 because they're both going to be level 4. Him and Fox, they'll both be level 4. So it's really interesting to be able to manipulate just anything in the deck, really. He can also manipulate his own level if you need to. Or you can potentially throw off your opponent because it's monster on the field, not necessarily your own monsters. So just all in all, he has a really good effect, and he really helps in the deck. He also helps some of the other monsters later on, I'll show you. The King of the Frail Imps targets is going to be 1 Mass Chameleon and 2 Gigabytes. I was playing 3 Gigabytes, but it's just really not needed. They're great cards nonetheless. He's basically a level 4 tuner that you can search off a King of the Frail Imps, and he's just a reoccurring monster that's level 4 that you can bring off of, or search off a King of the Frail Imps as well. He can special summon himself when you control a spellcaster. A lot of stuff is spellcaster in the deck. And then they just kind of do crazy things. He can also make a Abyss Dweller, a 22 beater, which is really good because he's water. So just all around they do crazy things. He also combos really well with the Vector Pendulum when it goes to grave. So just cool stuff. They work really well, but you only need 3 targets. I was contemplating playing the Lizard Draw and the Partnaga, but it's just really not needed. And then the last monster is the 1 Mathematician. Now, another cool thing with Risebell is that you can make Mathematician a level 4, which is really interesting because you can play his effect, and you can send, say, like, Trick Clown to grave. You can't see him. Trick Clown to grave, right? And you'll special the Trick Clown because of his effect. Then you can activate Risebell in the Pendulum Zone and bump him up to 4, and then you could just stack. And then it's just nuttier from there. Also being able to manipulate his level to 4, and then say you had Gigabyte in hand, you can special this because he is a spellcaster, and then stack them. Like, it's just really cool. It facilitates a lot of plays, plus he's a Foolish Burial on legs. So it opens up a lot of plays for the deck. And like being able to basically play 2 Foolish Burials is really good. Plus he has a decent effect when he dies. You draw a card, so that's really good. So that's it for the monsters. I don't know how many that is, but it's a lot. It's a lot of monsters. For the spells, we play 3 Wavering Eyes. Now you kind of need to play this. This basically allows you to win. That's the literal sense of the card. You can inflict 500 damage. You can you can add a pendulum from deck to hand. You can banish a card on the field, and you can search for this, depending on how many pendulum zones you do destroy with it. But basically, it just destroys as many pendulum zones on the field as possible on each player's side, and then you just activate effects depending on how many you popped. And it's also quick play, so it's really good. But it does a lot of dumb things with Plush Fire, so it's just a great card. You need to play 3 of this. Basically, if you resolve all 4, your opponent scoops, because it's just too good. Next, we play 2 Painful Decision. This card is really good. I was only playing 1 until I was told about the Risebell combo. So what this card allows you to do is sends a normal monster, normal pendulum, or just a normal monster, level 4 or lower from deck to grave, and then you add that same monster from deck to hand. So you have 2 targets in the deck. You have the Vector and you have the Risebell. I was, like I said, initially playing 1, but I bumped it up to 2 just to be able to see this card more, because this card is actually really, really strong, being able to manipulate my level 3s. So I bumped it up to 2, and I'm playtesting it. Like, if it doesn't work, I can cut it back down to 1, but for now, it's really good at 2. So, but you can also send a vector to grave, search for a vector, which will give you a low scale. Regardless, you're going to get a low scale off of it. And then, since it sends it to grave, you can do things with your Masked Chameleon. Basically, you're just you can send this guy to grave, add him to hand with this card, and then summon this, bring him back, and then go into Ignister. So it's just really strong. Some of the plays in the deck are just really strong with the Painful Decision. And that's the reason why we play 2. So moving on with the spells, it's just a couple of one-ofs. Play the 1 Instant Fusion. You kind of need to play the Instant Fusion for Norden plays. The 1 Foolish Burial, it's almost the same reasoning that you play the Mathematician. It's just really, really strong in the deck. A lot of stuff requires being in the grave. And then 1 Regeki. We're opting to play Regeki in the deck, basically in every deck that we're playing right now. All of my buds, all of the rest of the team. We're still playing Regeki. It doesn't hurt Magispectors, but it's still really, really strong. Doesn't really necessarily hurt Cosmo either, but it's just a really strong card, and it's just kind of like, you're going to miss it more than anything, especially since we don't have Exciton. It's just you kind of need to play it. So that's it for the spells. For the traps, we play 2 Magispector Tempest. Now this card is basically Solemn Notice by tributing a Spellcaster Wind-type monster. So your 6 targets for the deck are the Magispector cards. You can also you search this off of him, so that's really good. So he's like a good first turn normal summon. Search for this, and then set it behind him. And then like if they go off or they try to do a really big play, you can just negate. So basically what it says is when a monster or monsters would be special summoned, or a monster effect is activated, you contribute 1 wind spellcaster type monster, negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy it. So it's basically Solemn Notice by tributing one of your Magispectors. So it's just really, really strong. The other counter traps, or I guess the other traps, are the Warning and the Vanities. They're the other 2 power traps in the game right now. They just kind of need to be played in the deck. So that's it for the main deck. It is actually 42. I'm still trying to contemplate what I want to cut. Like I said, this could be cut to 1 if needed. The Mathematician was also like the 40. Like basically, I added a the second Painful Decision in the Mathematician as the 41st and 42nd card. And I'm loving how it plays. 42 is really irrelevant. Everyone's like, oh, you must play 40 or otherwise you're gonna lose. But it's really irrelevant. You can play 42. You can play 43. You're only gonna notice a difference. We've done the math. It's like 1 out of like it's like 2 out of every 100 games you'll notice a difference. So that's really not even that big of a deal. You'll start noticing a difference when you get to like 45, 46. So that's it. Like I said, for the main deck. For the extra deck, we play 2 Ignister. Now this card is basically your game winner. What he does is you can target a Pendulum monster on the field, so it could even just be in your like in your monster zones as long as it's Pendulum, or in one of your Pendulum zones, and it could be theirs as well, so that's good. Destroy it and then select the card on the field and shuffle it back to the deck. It doesn't target, which is really good against Cosmo, because their big ships can't be targeted, so that's really good. And then you can also special summon a Draco Slayer from the deck in face-up defense. So what that allows you to do is special summon a tuner, basically. It's the only target you have right now. So special summon him in defense, and then you can kind of just do some more things. It puts a level 4 on board. It also is a tuner, so it just allows you to do things. But the thing you bring out can't be used for a synchro summon, so you can like exceed with it and stuff. So he's just really, really strong. And 2850 is like a powerhouse in and of itself. So you got to play 2 of him. He happens a lot more than not. He's basically the go-to card. He requires a Pendulum non-tuner, so that's kind of like the only stipulation behind this card. So when you don't have the Pendulum non-tuner, you go into the Psyframe Omega. Basically, Omega allows you to put back anything. Like 1, he can hit cards out of your opponent's hand, which is really good. He's a 28 beater, that's also really good. But he can put back remove from play cards back into your grave. So you can put Jugglers back into grave and then recycle or just reuse the Jugglers. So he's just really, really strong in the deck. So for the Exceeds, we play 1 King of the Pharaoh Limps. He kind of just gets all your plays going with Gigabytes and with your Masked Chameleons and stuff. So he's really, really strong. He's probably like the first Exceed you go into because he's just so easy to go into and then just continue going off. So he's really needed. One Trapeze Magician. You run a lot of spellcasters, like I said. It works really well with the Magispectors. So he's definitely a game changer, if not a game ender. He can just detach to it, make a monster other than himself attack twice. He has some other effects, but basically when you bring this out, you win. So he's really, really strong. Next we put the Ragna Zero. Like I said earlier, it has a lot of plays with the Mirror Conductor. Mirror Conductor can manipulate your monster's attack, or your opponent's monster's attack level, or just attack points, and then he can detach to pop it because it's changed, and then draw a card. So, and he can do that on either player's turn, so that's really good. Plus he's 24, so he's not really anything to mess around with. Not a lot of the exceeds that you're bringing out that require 2 level 4s can really get over 24, so he's really good. Next we play the one Majester Paladin. This card I'm really iffy on. Like, he's really good. Like, he has a lot of cool ideas for the deck, and he can definitely do a lot of things for the deck, but he's not needed. It's just kind of in there because it's a pendulum deck. It requires 2 level 4 pendulums, and then he has a Scarm effect in the end phase of the turn he's summoned. You can add a pendulum from deck to hand. So if you're really, really behind, you can go into this, search for your thing. So it's good. I run a lot of pendulums in the deck, as y'all saw, and he can search for any of them. So he can also special summon a Draco Slayer from your pendulum zone, or from your extra deck that's like a pendulum monster. So you just basically summon back a Lustre from your extra deck. So that's kind of cool, but it can't be used as a XYZ material. So it kind of has like the opposite effect of the of Ignister. So they're kind of like, they go hand in hand. So yeah, for the next Exceeds, we play the Delteros. It's a lot easier to go into than you'd think, and he can just attach to pop a card on board, so he's just really good. He's spot removal, basically. Same with this, the Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. Just spot removal, plus he can like push a lot of OTKs. He can beef up like over 4k, so he's just really, really strong. Play the one Emerald to kind of shuffle things back. You also play normal monsters that can go to the graveyard, so you can play his effect and bring back like a Vector and then attack for 18 and 1850. So he's just really strong. You just need to play the Emerald. And then some like generic stuff. You play one Castel just to kind of spot removal. The one Dweller, because Burning Abyss is still a thing. Stopping graveyard effects is just really good. It's going to be really good against Mermails when they become a thing again. So you gotta play the Dweller. And then the Diamond Dyer, he's actually really cool. Obviously he's spot removal, but another cool thing you can do with him, if you stack like a Juggler and a Trick Clown under this card, and then say you haven't activated Trick Clown's effect this turn, or Damage Juggler, and you just so happen to have both of them out, which is really, really easy, you can detach the Damage Juggler, destroy himself and something else, and then the Trick Clown will go to grave. You'll be able to special summon back the Trick Clown and activate the Juggler's effect in grave to search for, say, a Hat Tricker, and then just like continue. Or it's just dumb. It can get you a Pendulum Scale. It can get you anything. So he's really good spot removal. I really like the Diamond Dyer in the deck. And then for the last Exceed monster before we get to the fusions, I guess, I played the one Leviair. Now this is kind of an interesting thing because it is a rank 4 deck, but you do play a lot of 3s in the deck. This is just a personal tech. So you play the Rise Bells, you play the Eccentric Archfiends, and you play the Mathematician, and if you haven't boosted him up by Rise Bell, you also play the Raccoons. So you do have a relevant amount of monsters to be able to go into this with. So he's definitely like an idea. Plus you can just bring back a remove from play Damage Juggler, which is really, really strong. So you can just bring this back, this remove from play, continue with your plays, and if you haven't used the Damage Juggler or don't have one in grave yet that turn, and you used the like the previous one last turn, brought it back, and then continue, put it back in grave, and then you can search for more stuff. So it's just really good. It's a really cool idea. I thought of it, I was like, I'm playing enough 3s, I might as well just throw it in the deck, and it's actually been working really good. So, and then for the last Exceed, or I guess last extra deck, not Exceed, is the Norden. So you kind of play the Norden. You play the one Instant Fusion, so yeah, you might as well. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let's just put the plush fires out, because he's the best. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed the deck. Leave any suggestions down below of what you guys want to see next, and leave a like if you guys liked it, and let me know what you guys think of this deck. It's definitely a fun idea. The Rise Bells definitely like cause some funny plays to happen, and it's definitely a really good idea. If you guys give this a try, and it works for you, please let me know in the comments. And other than that, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching. Like I said, leave a like if you liked it, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.